Hello, 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 TM24 here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. If you are just now finding the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for your continued support. I appreciate it. Loki the llama appreciates it. And today we've got a kind of a different deck here. And I'll be honest, I saw someone play something similar. I think it was the Jolly Roger. I by no means have any contact with him or anything like that. But I saw him make a play where he hid Taskmaster behind Invisible Woman and then copied Destroyer. I think it was a TikTok recently, but it was pretty cool. So it got me thinking, obviously, let's try something similar. But then I started thinking, what also goes along well with Invisible Woman? And the first thing that came to my mind was M.O.D.O.K and Hela. So I figured, is it possible to combine what he was doing with the Taskmaster play and a M.O.D.O.K type play behind Invisible Woman so that we had options? And this is the deck that I came up with. Like I said, definitely took inspiration from him, but tossing this all together I thought would be pretty cool. So let's talk about this deck. I'll walk you through a couple games at the end here, but essentially it's two different types of combos here. So starting off, we've got two 1-drops, and it's probably the two best 1-drops in the game in Sunspot and Nebula. I think these are huge because you want to get some power down early and then, let those kind of grow. Sunspot's great because a lot of times we might not have a play that we feel like making. Nebula, they're going to commit resources to that lane, so you feel good at playing your cards in the other lane, knowing that they're probably going to commit a lot of resources there. Next up, we've only got one 2-drop, and that's Invisible Woman, and she is here purely as a kind of a combo piece. Now, whether it's the M.O.D.O.K Hela or a Taskmaster, well, Shuri Taskmaster Big Thing combo, Invisible Woman does both things great. Next up, we've got one 3-drop, and that's Storm, and I figured I wanted to kind of lock off a location if possible, and Storm is one of the best at doing that early. I think a Professor X or a Spider-Man might be too expensive and come too late, and we probably want to be playing other cards in those slots. So I figured if we can get Storm down, Storm a Nebula Sunspot lane, something like that. If we're playing the Hela combo, then we are in good shape because cards can get there anyway. If we are going with the Taskmaster combo, might be a little bit tougher, but we do have options. So next come most of these combo pieces, right? We've got Shuri. And the idea here is to play Shuri in our situation, our specific case here, on the left-hand lane. On 5 would then come through Taskmaster hidden behind Invisible Woman. And then 6, ideally, it would be Giganto in that far left lane, giving us a 28 power Giganto that Taskmaster then copies and gets us a huge dub. So that's one of the combo there. Next up, we've got two other 5-drops. Aside from Taskmaster, we've got Captain Marvel and we've got M.O.D.O.K. Now, I wanted to toss Captain Marvel in this list because of her ability to reach those locations that we shut off, like Storm, or in this situation where the Sanctum is up. Now we've got a card that, one, if we hit with Shuri, that's 12 power we can send there and feel pretty good about it, or 2, it just becomes another way to win the game. Captain Marvel is very, very difficult to play against because your opponent needs to keep their power spread. They need to be within 7, but they can't stack one so much that Captain Marvel can just move to another and win. So Captain Marvel is very difficult to play against, and I figured it'd be nice having her in here kind of as like another option. Then we've got the M.O.D.O.K Hela combo. Obviously, we're hiding M.O.D.O.K behind Invisible Woman. Same thing with Hela. M.O.D.O.K just discards our whole hand. Hela brings it all back, and ideally, we're hitting something big, right? We've got Chavez in there so that we're always going to have Chavez on 6, so at least that's one 9-power card that Hela would be bringing back. And the way the rest of our deck is lining up, typically we're bringing back at least 2, sometimes even 3 cards that are 9 power or more, flipping the game and getting a huge win. Now, our other 2 6-drops are She-Hulk and Giganto. Now, She-Hulk, I like in this list as another potential combo option to go something like Shuri on 4, skip your 5th turn. If you've got Sunspot out there, great. If not, then it's okay. She-Hulk's going to be discounted, so then on 6, you can go She-Hulk for 18 and copy Taskmaster for 18 as well. So I like She-Hulk. Additionally, if we hit a bit of a rough hand, maybe we don't get much that we can play, She-Hulk allows us to at least have a lot of power that we can get down, in a different way. Additionally, She-Hulk can get underneath something like a Goose and stack that lane and give us a shot at winning that lane that we otherwise wouldn't really have the chance to with this list. And then we've got Giganto. Now, in the TikTok that I saw from the Jolly Roger, like I said, no way associated, but definitely took some inspiration. He used Destroyer. That's 30 power. And he destroys everything except for the Taskmaster that would be hidden behind the Invisible Woman. So essentially, you got 2 lanes at 30 power, which is great. Now, because I'm running this M.O.D.O.K version of it, I wanted to have a card that I could still put out a bunch of power, but isn't going to destroy the rest of the board. It's not going to screw up the potential M.O.D.O.K Hela combo either. We don't want to we don't want to discard Destroyer, then bring him back with Hela just for Destroyer to delete our whole board, right? So my next thought was, let's go to a different high power card, and let's try Giganto. Now, Giganto is a little bit tough because you need to play him in that left-hand lane. But at 14 power, getting doubled up is 28, and that is huge. So Taskmaster copying 28 is essentially the same thing. You're probably going to win. The 2 power difference isn't really all that much. Now, a couple cool things about the way this list works, right? If we're playing Invisible Woman and we have the M.O.D.O.K Hela lined up, but we also have Shuri, playing Shuri on top of, hidden behind Invisible Woman, then playing M.O.D.O.K, then Hela, and let's say you discard Taskmaster. As you can see in this game, Taskmaster is going to copy that M.O.D.O.K. So that M.O.D.O.K being buffed up to 16 power thanks to Shuri means you're getting a 16 power Taskmaster as well. So that's pretty cool little interaction there. Additionally, we always have the option to go Shuri Captain Marvel to reach lanes that are otherwise unreachable. And this list just kind of has a few different ways that you can play it, and that's what I really, really like about it. While they aren't directly, synergistic, they don't fit perfectly, you've got enough pieces of each to make it work. And you can win games that you otherwise shouldn't be able to. So I'll walk you guys through these next couple games here. We'll talk about this one. As you can see, we had a pretty good shot here. We got our Sunspot Nebula down early. They bring out our Storm. And then we got Invisible Woman down as well. Now, ideally, we were going to hide Taskmaster behind that Invisible Woman, something like that. But in this scenario, we have a chance to put She-Hulk down. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get She-Hulk out there, get up to 12 power in flooding, and that's going to be really tough for our opponent to beat. Additionally, because of the way this deck is built, we can always go 8 power M.O.D.O.K on 5, knowing that we're going to draw Chavez on 6. So in this case, where we're up in this middle lane here, where we've got Sunspot and Nebula putting some pressure down, on that far right lane, we were able to get She-Hulk hidden behind Invisible Woman, so we've got that lane one. We're not too worried about discarding our hand. 8 power is actually pretty good for turn 5. Not elite. Obviously, we're deleting our hand, but we know that we're drawing Chavez next turn, so we're not too worried about it. We've got a good draw, so we are in a good spot. In this case, we do make that play. M.O.D.O.K comes down for 8. They play the Thing and the Wasp into that center lane. A little bit tough here, but in order for them to flip Jotunheim, they got to put a bunch of power. So we can just make the easy play of putting Chavez into the middle. They've got to commit there, otherwise Nebula is going to grow as well, and that would put us ahead in the icebox. We are ahead in flooded, and Jotunheim, we are ahead as well. Now, the one thing that would have had a chance here would have been a Dr. Doom, something like that. They end up going with the Abomination play into Luke Cage, into Misty Knight. They get all the way up to 9 power, but we match them in the icebox, and because we were able to get She-Hulk down early, we end up getting another huge win there. So again, we didn't need to hit either combo to still get a win. Now, in this game, it's lining up. We've got M.O.D.O.K, we've got Shuri, we've got Giganto, and we pick up Invisible Woman. Now, this deck can be a little bit tough to play, and here's where I make a mistake. We put Invisible Woman into that far left lane. We would have been much better served playing Invisible Woman into this center lane. Yes, we didn't know what was coming up because the lane was still hidden. But ideally, we want to have that option to go Shuri, Giganto into that far left lane. And by putting Invisible Woman there, we actually take away our ability to run that combo. So we make a mistake there. We do have M.O.D.O.K in our hand, so it's not too big of a deal and not at all a big deal because we pick up Hela on the next turn. But definitely potential to cause you to lose the game right there by playing Invisible Woman in that left lane. She's going to want to be in the middle or on that far right lane just because you want to have the option to go with Giganto into that far left lane. Now, if you decide to run a different 6-drop, something like maybe a Magneto, it doesn't really matter then where you put Invisible Woman. But because we were going for as much power as possible with Giganto, one little mistake there, but ultimately not a big deal. And it comes back great because we get Storm down and they get Dracula, but that's fine. They play a M.O.D.O.K of their own, so we know we're pretty much clear here to... We've already won the Tinkerer's Workshop, right? We've got Shuri down hitting M.O.D.O.K. Now we've got Hela ready to come through, and it's going to bring back a 14 power Giganto, a 16 power Taskmaster, a 9 power Chavez, and just a little 0 power Sunspot. But we've got a ton of power out there, and that's a really cool M.O.D.O.K, by the way. But they end up going Apocalypse, and you're going to see our play come through here. Shuri comes down, M.O.D.O.K comes through, 16 power. Hela comes through, brings back Taskmaster, who copies M.O.D.O.K again. That's a really cool interaction there. Sunspot does come to that center lane. Not great, but we get Chavez and Giganto over into that flooded lane, and we get a nice, easy victory there. Here we go. We've got another game for you. We pick up Hela early. In this instance, we decided to go Nebula in the far right lane. We've got Storm ready to go, so the plan is to back up Nebula with Storm, but of course that changes when Sakaar pulls Storm and kind of, forces us to rethink how we're going to play this. They got a White Tiger pulled, and honestly, that was best case scenario for us. White Tiger into flooding, toss the Tiger Spear over into the Forge. Now, Murder World pops up, and not great because Nebula is now going down, but we do have the chance to get Invisible Woman out. So we do. We're going to play into the Forge. They play Mystique, which honestly, I'm not sure what they were thinking there. Playing, I guess, pretty much anything else would have been better. Maybe they just wanted the Sentinel. I'm not sure. But here again, we pick up M.O.D.O.K. We already have Hela. We might as well toss a Sentinel down to start getting some power. And then it's just a matter of letting the combo run its course. We're going to get, in this case, an 8-power Taskmaster, a 6-power Captain Marvel, another Sentinel, and Chavez as well. And Shuri. Shuri is going to come down as well. But really, the big gets are going to be the Taskmaster, Captain Marvel, and Chavez, plus, an extra 5 power from the other two. So we get our M.O.D.O.K down. We've got Hela ready to go. We snap, knowing that we've already won the Forge. We're way ahead in Flooded. Well, not way ahead, but we're ahead in Flooded, and we're tied in Murder World. There really is nothing that I could think of that would have a chance at beating our setup here. So they come through with just a Sentinel and an Ironheart. So really, maybe this was a bot. I'm not sure. Either way, I don't think this playline is going to be beaten very often. M.O.D.O.K Hela is just so powerful, and then we're utilizing Invisible Woman, and we even have the Shuri combo if we want it. So as you can see here, everything comes down, and we end up getting another huge victory with this really fun and different list. Alright, so here is the list that I was running. Now, like I said, we could always switch out Giganto for something like a Magneto. That might play really nicely. We definitely don't want Destroyer, just in case we want to go with the M.O.D.O.K combo. Captain Marvel did feel a little bit underwhelming at times, so she's another change that I would consider making. And I'm thinking maybe a different 5 or a 4-drop would be a good call. Additionally, another card that I always love to include is Jeff, so I might put him in there. But in terms of a 4 or a 5, I guess I could see maybe an Arrow. Arrow wouldn't be bad. Additionally, a 4-drop. I mean, Dracula, but we're going to be deleting our hand anyway. If we went with Dracula, then we would probably want to do something instead of Magneto, go with Apocalypse, just to make sure that there's still a target for a Dracula. That actually could take this deck again to another level there. So you have that option, but overall, this is a super, super fun deck. That deck building with the Taskmaster hidden behind the Invisible Woman, super smart. So I'm glad that I saw that and had a chance to kind of think about it and put a different spin on it. But we're running the M.O.D.O.K Hela combo or the Shuri Taskmaster combo with this list. Ton of fun. Will definitely get you some wins and help you climb. If you've hung around till now, thank you. I appreciate you doing so. Now would be a good time to subscribe or like the video if you haven't already. And be on the lookout for the next video. And until then, have some fun.